I walked into the gym to heal my body. I never expected him to heal my heart. That's what I tell myself now, sitting in my car in the rain, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles are white. I'm 47 years old, and I'm in love with a man 15 years younger than me. The truth of it sits in my chest like a stone, heavy and impossible to move. The first time I saw him, I didn't see him at all, not really. My eyes were on the floor, tracing the scuff marks on the linoleum. I was just another invisible woman in leggings and a faded t-shirt, hoping the fluorescent lights wouldn't show the gray in my hair. My world had become small. A quiet house, a job that demanded nothing of my heart, and this attempt to feel something in my limbs besides the ache of existing. His name was Leo. He was the morning shift trainer at Iron Haven, a box of a gym in a strip mall off the main road. All sunshine and easy smiles. When he introduced himself, his handshake was warm, solid. "New start?" he'd asked, his eyes kind, not assessing. I just nodded, my voice stuck somewhere deep. I was there to rebuild bone and muscle, nothing more. For weeks, it was just nods. A good morning as I trudged to the treadmill, and looking strong, he'd call out as I struggled with a weight I used to lift easily. His encouragement felt generic, part of the job. I was a project, a polite obligation. Then one Tuesday, I was trying to remember the cable machine sequence. Frustration pinched my lips, my shoulders slumped. I must have sighed, because suddenly he was there. "Here," he said softly, not taking over, but guiding my hand to the correct setting. Like this. His touch was brief, professional, but he didn't walk away. He asked, "Rough day?" 2 words, and something in me, some dam holding back a desert's worth of quiet years, cracked. My eyes filled stupidly instantly. I looked away, mortified. But he just leaned against the machine, his gaze steady on the floor between us, giving me space. "Sometimes," he said, his voice low, "the weight you carry in here," he tapped his temple, "is heavier than anything on this rack." He remembered that. He remembered me. After that, he'd always find a moment. A comment about the awful gym coffee. Asking if I'd seen the new bakery that opened down the street. He started remembering things. That I liked my water bottle filled with ice. That I always did cardio last because I hated it. He'd say, "Go on, get the hard part over with a grin that felt like a secret between us. The friendship was a slow sunrise. We'd talk in the empty gym after my session, the cleaners humming in the background. He told me about his dog, his dream of opening his own wellness studio. I found myself telling him things I hadn't said aloud in a decade. About the quiet divorce that felt less like an explosion and more like a room slowly losing air. About my daughter away at college, how her absence echoed. He listened. Not like a therapist, not like a kid humoring an older woman. He listened like what I said mattered. I began to live for those mornings, the sound of his laugh, the way he'd squint in concentration when showing me a form, the casual brush of his arm against mine as he spotted me, a touch that started sending a current through my skin, a feeling so foreign I almost didn't recognize it as desire. And that's when the fear set in, cold and sensible. I was in the locker room, tying my shoes, when I heard them. 2 women, younger, vibrant, by the mirrors. So cute, and he's always so sweet with her. It's kinda sad, though. She's old enough to be his. The rest was swallowed by a hairdryer, but the sting was complete. It wasn't malice in their voices, it was pity. The kind that withers you from the inside out. I saw it then, the reality. Him in his prime, all future. Me with my stretch marks and my memories solidly in my past. Whatever warmth I felt was a fantasy, a lonely woman's pathetic daydream. I pulled away. I started coming in the evenings when he wasn't there. I kept my eyes on my phone. When he texted to ask if I was okay, I typed back 1-word answers. Fine. Busy. It felt like surgically removing a part of my own heart, but it was necessary. I was protecting him from gossip, and myself from a humiliation I couldn't survive. The decision to quit was made in the deep, hollow silence of my kitchen at 2 a.m. I'd write an email, simple, "Thank you, moving on." I opened my laptop, the glow harsh in the dark. The next afternoon, I went to the gym one last time to leave my locker key, and he was there, leaning against his car in the parking lot like he was waiting. The sky was the color of old bruises. He looked tired. "You're avoiding me," he said. No smile, just a statement that hung in the damp air. "It's not a good idea," I whispered, my voice trembling. Whatever this is, people are talking. I'm too old for this, Leo." The words tumbled out, sharp and broken. "I'm a chapter you skim past. You have your whole life ahead. You don't need some middle-aged woman complicating it." The dam broke fully then. Tears I'd held back for years. For my failed marriage, my empty nest, my own fading reflection, came in a silent, shuddering wave. I covered my face, utterly defeated. He didn't hug me. He didn't tell me to stop. He just stepped closer, his voice so quiet I felt it more than heard it. "Look at me." I couldn't. "Please." I lowered my hands. His eyes were fierce, clear. "You think I don't see you," he said, each word deliberate. "I see the woman who shows up even when she's exhausted. I see the strength in her that she doesn't believe is there. I hear the stories of a life fully lived, and it's the most beautiful sound in this whole damn place." He took a breath, his own composure cracking. "You think this is about age, about some number? The only thing I feel when I'm with you is that I've been waiting. I've been waiting in this stupid parking lot, in this stupid gym, for a heart like yours to walk in." The world stopped. The traffic noise faded. There was only his face, earnest and open, and the terrifying, glorious truth ringing in his words. My resistance didn't shatter. It dissolved. It simply vanished, because it was built on fear. And what stood before me was the bravest, most real thing I'd ever encountered. "Leo," I breathed. He reached out, his hand hovering near my cheek, giving me every chance to pull away. I leaned into it. The touch was electric, a promise. "Tell me I'm wrong," he whispered, his thumb brushing away a tear. "Tell me you don't feel this. Tell me, and I'll walk away. I'll never say another word." I looked into the eyes of this young, beautiful man who saw me, truly saw me, and I made a choice. Not for the woman I was, but for the woman I still could be. My voice was barely a whisper, but it was the steadiest it had ever been. "You're not wrong." And right there, in the ordinary gray of a gym parking lot, with the first few drops of rain beginning to fall, my life began again. The rain began in earnest then, a sudden downpour that pattered against the asphalt and soaked through my thin jacket. We stood there, frozen in the space between his words and my admission. His hand was still cupping my cheek, his thumb tracing the line of my cheekbone, a touch so tender it made my breath catch. "We should," he started, his eyes darting to the gym door. "Not in there," I said quickly. The fluorescent reality of the gym felt like the wrong universe for this. "My car," he said, and we ran, a clumsy, laughing dash through the rain. We tumbled into the passenger seat of his sensible sedan. It smelled like him, clean linen, protein bars, and faintly of pine air freshener. The windows fogged instantly, sealing us in a private, breathless world. The drumming rain on the roof was the only sound. He turned to me, his hair plastered to his forehead, droplets on his lashes. The bravado from moments before was gone, replaced by a vulnerable hesitation. "I meant every word," he said, his voice hushed. I didn't plan to say it all in a parking lot in the rain." A shaky laugh escaped me. "Where did you plan to say it?" A slow, genuine smile spread across his face. "I don't know. Somewhere better. Over coffee, maybe. After I'd worked up the courage for about 6 more months." The normalcy of it, coffee, courage, made the surreal moment feel real, touchable. My heart was pounding. Not with panic now, but with a wild, fragile hope. "I would have talked myself out of it in 6 months," I admitted, looking down at my hands, wrinkled from the rain. "I've spent the last year talking myself out of feeling anything at all." He reached over, his fingers gently threading through mine. The contact was a shock of warmth. "Then I'm glad I have terrible timing." He paused, his gaze intense. "What are you feeling now? Right now, in this moment? Tell me the truth." I let myself feel it. The warmth of his hand. The tightness in my chest that wasn't anxiety, but anticipation. The years of loneliness that seemed to recede, like a tide going out. "I feel awake," I whispered. "For the first time in so long, I'm completely awake." He brought my hand to his lips, pressing a soft, lingering kiss to my knuckles. The gesture was old-fashioned, achingly sweet, and it undid me completely. A tear escaped, tracing a hot path down my cold cheek. "Don't," he murmured, catching it with his thumb. "This isn't a sad thing." "They're not sad tears," I said. "They're relief, like I've been holding my breath for a decade and I finally remembered how to exhale." We sat in the fogged-up car for an hour, talking about everything and nothing. The rain slowed to a drizzle. We talked about the risk, the stares we'd get, the questions from his friends, the concern from my daughter. We didn't solve anything. We just held the problems in our hands, looked at them together, and decided silently that they were not bigger than this, than the magnetic pull that had been drawing us together since the first time he'd noticed I was struggling. He drove me to my car. The lot was empty now. "Can I see you tomorrow?" he asked. "Not at the gym, somewhere that has nothing to do with reps or sets." "Yes," I said, the word feeling delicious and dangerous on my tongue. The next evening, he took me to the new bakery he'd mentioned weeks before. It was a quaint, warm place with sticky buns and oversized mugs. We sat at a small corner table, and it was the date. A real, honest-to-goodness date. He pulled my chair out. Our knees touched under the table, and neither of us moved away. We talked about books, about our favorite terrible movies, about the ocean, about everything we'd been storing up to share with someone. It wasn't a fiery, dramatic confession. It was a quiet unfolding. A series of me too and I feel the same way moments woven into ordinary conversations. It was him saying, "I think about you when I listen to that song," and me admitting, "I look for your car whenever I drive past the gym." Weeks turned into a month. We were careful at first. Short walks in the park at dusk, drives along the river with the windows down. But love, it turns out, is not a creature of caution. It seeks delight. One Saturday, he invited me over to his apartment to meet Scout, his goofy, lovable rescue dog. It was a modest place, tidy, full of plants and sunlight. I was nervous, stepping into his private world. He made us dinner, a simple pasta that he was a little too proud of, and we ate on his couch, a classic rock album playing softly in the background. Scout fell asleep with his head in my lap. Leo watched us, his expression so soft it made my throat tight. He set his plate down and turned to me. "I need to say something," he began, taking my hand. "And I don't want you to overthink it. I just need you to hear it." I nodded, my pulse fluttering. "I love you, Claire." He said my name like it was a sacred word. "I love your strength and your vulnerability. I love the stories in your eyes. I love how you make me want to be a better man. This isn't a fling for me. This isn't a phase. I'm in this, all in, however you'll have me, for as long as you'll let me." The words washed over me, a warm, healing wave. There were no more barriers, no more fear. There was only this man, this moment, and the overwhelming truth in my own heart. I placed my hand on his cheek, feeling the slight stubble under my palm. I looked into his eyes, seeing my future reflected there, a future I'd thought was no longer mine to claim. "I love you, Leo," I said, the words steady and sure. "I love your kindness and your patience and the way you see me, the real me. You didn't just help me heal my body. You walked into the quietest, darkest corner of my life, and you turned on the lights." He leaned in then, and our first kiss was not a question, but an answer. It was slow and deep and tasted of hope and red wine, and a second chance I never saw coming. It was the beginning. We still go to the gym sometimes, together. People talk, they glance. Sometimes I see the curiosity, sometimes the judgment. But now I just hold his hand a little tighter. He'll smile down at me, that same sunshine smile, and whisper, "Let them wonder." And they do. They wonder about the woman with the laugh lines and the young man who looks at her like she hung the moon. They don't see the whole story. They don't see the healing, the courage, the quiet friendship that built a foundation strong enough to hold a love that defies every rule. I walked into the gym to heal my body, and I found the man who taught my heart how to beat again. Not on schedule, but right on time.